Many Democratic officials with whom I've spoken are worried that President Biden and his family and his inner circle appear to be in complete denial, not just about whatever might be wrong with him, but the state of his candidacy right now.
Did you ever watch the debate afterwards?
I don't think I did, no.
He doesn't think he did? After facing increasing pressure to demonstrate in public an ability to take questions and respond cogently for a lengthy period of time live about what he wants to do with the United States, his message, his plans, his policies, the president and his team have not held a press conference to demonstrate just that. He continues to do what he has done sparingly in the past, a short taped sit down with an anchor, in this case, George Stephanopoulos of ABC News. But before the president did that, he called into a couple of black radio stations where he said, among other things, this.
By the way, I'm proud to be, as I said, the first vice president, first black woman, served with a black president. I'm proud to the first black woman in the Supreme Court. There's just so much that we can do because together there's nothing. Look, this is the United States of America.
He's proud to be the first black woman? Not coherent. And even then, we later found out, from the radio host, that the Biden campaign had given her a list of questions to ask President Biden. That is a huge no-no in journalism, and the host was fired for it, but it remains quite telling that in the Biden campaign's efforts to show that the president has not missed a step, his campaign felt the need to feed questions to the hosts for a call-in radio interview. And the president still, even then, failed to deliver in many of his answers. Now, many elected Democrats are expressing concern about this answer, too, although it was quite coherent. George Stephanopoulos asking him how he would feel if he ultimately loses to Donald Trump, which polls have suggested he will.
I feel as long as I gave it my all and I did the goodest job as I know I can do, that's what this is about.
As long as he gave it his all and did the goodest job he could do.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about the cackling hens on The View who are all in on Joe Biden despite his cognitive deficiencies. I mean, Whoopi went on air and stated that she would remain loyal to Joe Biden even if he pooped his pants in response to calls from Democrats for Joe Biden to step down.
I'm just going to add my 2 cents because I wasn't here on the day that y'all talked about it. I don't care if he's pooped his pants. I don't care if he can't put a sentence together. Show me he can't do the job, and then I'll say, okay, maybe it's time to go. Now, he had a bad night the first time that he went out and debated with Kamala Harris. And everybody wanted him to quit then, say you can't talk to women like this, or you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. He came back, said, you know what, I got it, and gave 4 years. So, yeah, I have poopy days all the time. I step in so much poo you can't even imagine. Now, I'm not running the world, but I don't know anybody who doesn't step in stuff at some point. So I'm just simply saying, there are 2 debates. And if he can't do what he needs to do for the second debate, I'll join any crew that says get rid of him. But loyalty to me, if you are doing the job, I might not like everything you're doing. I don't like it all. But I'm going to stand behind you like those guys stand behind the guy who should have been the person people were talking about saying, yeah, Biden had a bad day, but this guy couldn't tell the truth if it split his lip. But nobody said that, but Anna said that, I believe, or something. She's not quite as colorful as I am. But the question now
Give me a chance.
The question now is, because lots of Democrats are coming out saying, find somebody else. But when we tried to do that with DT, this is my new way of just describing him. When we said, listen, he shouldn't be on the ballot. Everybody said, no. People chose him. We can't take him off the ballot. Well, I don't understand why anybody thinks it's going to be any easier to take Biden off the ballot.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that, okay? Whoopi is one of these people that is definitely in a cult, right? She's in a cult, and it's so funny because they accuse Trump supporters of being in a cult for continuing to support Trump despite his convictions, even though most people believe that those convictions are bogus, which would suggest that, hey, we're supporting him despite the convictions because we don't believe that the convictions were correct. Now, these people are acknowledging that, yes, Biden is cognitively impaired, and we would still vote for him even if he poops his pants, which, again, would suggest that you are so Trump deranged that you will vote for anybody over Trump, even if that person wasn't functional, which, again, would most definitely lead to a state of chaos and destruction, which is the current state of this country. But they don't care because they just hate Trump that much. Okay, when Trump was in office, we did not have all these problems. But now that we have Biden in office, all of a sudden we have these problems. And again, these people, for whatever reason, are trying to justify the unjustifiable, right? It's really sad. It really is. Okay, what's even sadder is for these people to try to pretend like the mainstream liberal media is doing Biden wrong because they are finally covering Biden fairly, which, in my opinion, is correlated with the fact that Biden is getting destroyed in the polls. Okay, Trump is starting to pull away from Biden in what appears to be a landslide victory ahead. And I don't think it's a coincidence, right? I really do believe that the media now covering Biden fairly is the Democrats' worst nightmare because the facts are not on their side, right? They claim that the facts are on their side, but yet when the media is now all of a sudden neutral, okay, and they're covering their side and criticizing their side, now all of a sudden they want to be upset. But when the media was talking about Trump 24/7, they had no problems with it, okay? Which, again, is going to be demonstrated by Ana Navarro having a full-blown meltdown here. Again, screenshot, probably will be in the thumbnail, okay? She is upset by the media's coverage of Joe Biden. This is what she's mad about.
I've got to tell you, I'm worried and I'm pissed. Frankly, I'm livid. Because for the last 8 days, it feels to me, I have seen nothing but breathless reporting. It almost feels like media malpractice of them trying to score the winning goal against Biden. Who can have the gotcha moment? They've been splicing, dicing, cubing everything he says, putting on a microscopic slide, and then looking at it under all sorts of magnifying glasses.
Wow, that sounds exactly like what the media has been doing to Trump for the past 8 years, right? Where was Ana Navarro? Oh man, this is a better screenshot. Okay, I got to get this one. Okay, I just noticed this might be even better. Okay, this is definitely going in the thumbnail. But anyways, where was Ana Navarro when they were doing this to Trump, right? Where was Ana Navarro when the mainstream liberal media was doing all the things that she's complaining about the mainstream liberal media doing to Biden, but when they were doing it to Trump, like, for example, when they were splicing up clips of Trump's speeches where he would say things like, for example, illegal immigrants, aka criminals, gangs, human traffickers are poisoning the blood of the country. And then the mainstream liberal media would take that out of context and say, no. Trump said that all immigrants are poisoning the blood of the country. Where was Ana Navarro? Oh, yeah, she was pushing the propaganda and the lies from the mainstream liberal media, right? She was supporting this. But now that it's being done to Biden, but again, the difference is that it is correctly being done to Biden, right? The liberal media is justified because Biden is actually in office, okay? Biden is the president. And when you have the president of the most powerful country in the world, when it seems as if he's not cognitively fit for office, that is a huge story. That is the number one story in the world by definition, right? Again, these people thought it was justified when people were saying that Trump is the one with the problems, right? Trump is a madman. He's going to cause World War III because he's unhinged. Well, you have a senile old man that is unhinged in office right now, and now all of a sudden they think that, oh, no, it's not justified to talk about this, right? You shouldn't talk about this guy who has access to the nuke code, who a lot of people are now questioning his mental fitness for office. No. Don't talk about him. Talk about a guy that's not in office, okay, that doesn't have access to the nuke codes at this point. Again, this is hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious.
Look, Joe Biden is the nominee. He is the human being standing between us and Donald Trump. I think Democrats need to stop making the case against Joe Biden and start making the case against Donald Trump. I think the media needs to give some parity to the coverage that they are doing, because in their zeal to fact check Joe Biden, they too are making mistakes. Yesterday, I saw the Washington Post reporting that Ted Lieu had asked in that conference call for Biden to step down. Except a few minutes later, Ted Lieu went on social media and said, I never opened my mouth. Yeah. Then there was the entire thing with Mark Warner. Look, I saw Joe Biden the day after the debate. I saw him that night at an LGBTQ gala. I hugged him so tight I almost broke a rib.
Wow. What is conservative about this woman? That's what I'm trying to figure out. What is conservative about Ana Navarro? Okay, she goes to an LGBTQ event to give a hug to the most progressive president in American history, right? The most progressive president ever. But yet she still calls herself a conservative and a Republican. I'm not entirely sure exactly why. Okay, what is conservative about Ana Navarro? I really don't get it. But again, what she's begging for is for the media all of a sudden to have some parity. Have parity in your coverage, okay? You need to be more neutral in your coverage, okay? You're covering Biden too much, right? Again, where was all this when the media was covering Trump 24/7? When it was nonstop Trump, 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 Trump. Where was Ana Navarro saying you need some parity, right? Cover the guy that's actually in office, right? No, she wasn't saying that. Again, it's just hilarious.
I thought the Secret Service was going to come. Girl, you got to go really deep to get my ribs. He's got less body fat than I do. But I saw Joe Biden. So I'm not an anonymous source. I'm not somebody pretending to have spoken to him. No, I actually did speak to him. And he was...
Yeah, and so did Joe Scarborough, right? And look how that turned out.
Just fine. He had a bad night. And until Joe Biden tells me he is out, I am riding with Biden-Harris. Okay. And the second part of that...
Again, what is conservative about Ana Navarro? Okay, she is basically coming out here as a so-called conservative and a Republican and continuing to support progressivism, right? It's just amazing. You know, I can understand if she came out here and said, hey, I just don't want to vote for Trump. But I'm not going to vote for Democrat either because I'm not a Democrat. Like, I'm a conservative. I just don't like Trump. Okay, I kind of understand that. I get that, right? I think it's silly. I think that Trump is definitely much closer to a conservative than Biden and Kamala Harris. But I would understand that, right? I would get that position. What I don't understand is this woman actively supporting the Biden administration. And if you're going to do that, just come out and say, hey, I'm a Democrat. I'm a liberal now, right? Just say it, okay? But don't call yourself a conservative and a Republican, and you are quite literally doing the opposite of what a conservative or Republican should be doing, especially this election.
And that I think is very important because they are a team. And Kamala Harris has come out so strong this last week as part of that team. And part of the reason I have no qualms about supporting Joe Biden, zero, is because I know that if something happens to him, like every other vice president, she will step in and she is prepared, she is experienced, she is decent, she is compassionate, she is smart. She is far from the caricature that Republicans have tried to build with her. So you know what? I am with Biden-Harris till the damn end.
Yeah. The problem is this.
Incredible.
The problem is this. Most Americans are never going to get a chance to dine with the president or to be at fundraisers with him. 50 million people tuned into that debate, and it's going to be undecided voters and swing voters who determine this election. I believe that Trump is a threat to democracy. I am horrified that my party nominated an aspiring fascist, and there is one way to stop it. It is in the ballot box. The courts are not stopping Donald Trump, so it is who is running against him. And I'm starting to question if Biden recognizes how big of a threat Donald Trump actually is. Because as George Stephanopoulos rightly pointed out, there's no example in modern history of somebody having Biden's approval rating, having nearly 50% of his own party saying they don't want him to be the nominee, they want someone else, and 70% of voters saying they're worried about his age, and going on 4 months later to win. I don't think we're just risking the White House to Donald Trump. I think you are risking a sweep in the House and the Senate. And I actually would argue, unpopular take, I think Kamala Harris would perform better because I think voters felt gaslit being told that Biden is as sharp as a tack. I think a young, energetic Democrat running and saying that they're at the top of the ticket actually will perform better head to head.
Well, I will be voting for President Biden if he is on the ballot come November for all the reasons you guys so adequately spelled out. I don't think he can win up against Donald Trump as it stands right now. I just don't. And his age and frailty were always apparent to me, and they didn't concern me. Probably because of who he's up against, but also because I've been more happy than not with the administration. But I blame those closest to him, not the media, Anna. I blame those closest to him because by this time, President Obama had given 570 news conferences and interviews. Trump had given 468. Biden's given 164. If they had put him out there earlier, we could have either discovered this problem with time on our hands or squelched it immediately. And that's on their hands.
Well, again, the honest to God truth is that it's everybody's fault, right? It's the liberal media's fault. It's the Democrat Party's fault. That is what the Democrat primary was supposed to be for, right? So that the people could see the candidates and decide, okay, this person is fit for office. However, the Democrats, because they rigged their own primary, the voters didn't get that opportunity, right? And they went out and voted for Joe Biden. And a lot of them, because they don't really pay attention, they're not informed, again, which is why they're voting for Joe Biden, but they voted for him not knowing the condition that he is in, because the media, along with the cackling hands who are part of the media, colluded to hide Biden's condition. I mean, look at what she just told you. Well, I knew the condition that Biden was in, but, hey, I was okay with it, right? Now, all of a sudden, they're not okay with it. Again, she looks like she's about to cry. Another screenshot. Why does all the cackling hands look like they're on the verge of crying, right? It's kind of funny, but, I just find it fascinating how people in the media who are talking about this topic of Joe Biden are blaming the media for actually doing their jobs. I mean, listen, this is the biggest story in the world. And there's nothing wrong with covering this story just because it makes the Biden administration look bad. These people are openly advocating for the media to ignore the biggest story in the world, which is that the president of the United States, the commander-in-chief, is not cognitively fit for office. Like, you just can't ignore that. I mean, listen, if the cackling hands really didn't want to talk about it, again, they're a part of the media, okay? They could have just not talked about it. They could have just ignored it, but they can't ignore it because it's such a big story, right? It's not a story that you could just ignore. Now, again, you ignored it for 3 years, 4 years, because Biden was not exposed to 50 million people, where we all saw at the same time the slow motion train wreck that is Joe Biden. Now, again, conservatives, the conspiracy theorists, right? We all saw it and we were warning people about it. But again, we were dismissed. Okay. They say we're not credible people. But again, the so-called journalists, the fact checkers, the arbiters of truth, right? The liberal media, they know what's best. Okay. You must believe everything they say, except when they're wrong. Okay. And they're wrong quite a bit. And this right here is just another embarrassment for the media. And then the media is trying their best to save their reputation. Not that they had a good reputation to begin with, but they're trying to save the ounce of credibility that they have left. I don't think they have any, but some people think that they do, by now covering Biden the way they should have been covering him for the past 3 to 4 years. If the media was doing their job and covering Biden the way they're covering him now, since the beginning, again, this race wouldn't even be close. Trump would be winning by probably 20 or 30 points. Biden's approval rating would be in the single digits. That's the reality, folks. And you know this because these cackling hens are on the verge of tears, crying about the media coverage and what's happening to the Biden campaign right now. This should have happened 2 years ago, 3 years ago, right? But hey, better late than never. However, never late is better. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.